Alessandro, Torfi, and Peter Hofmann will talk about tokenization in private banking and wealth management of the art industry. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi. Peter Hofmann here.
Great to have you.
Thank you very much for having me. Good. I guess we start. Alessandro, would you share the slides?
Absolutely.
Perfect. So let's get started then, I would say. And hi, and welcome to our presentation, right, about the market opportunity of tokenized arts in the private banking industry. My name is Peter Hofmann. I'm the founder and CEO of Custodigit. With me is Alessandro Torfi, who is Senior Product Manager within Custodigit and currently working on such a use case.
Could you turn into full screen?
Excuse me?
Could you turn into full screen, Control L? Or F11? But it works, but no, it's fine. I'm sorry.
Sure, I hope it works, right? It looks, at least on my screen, it looks good. Good. I will go on my side then. Right, Custodigit wants to be the institutional digital asset gateway for the regulated financial service industry. Our mission is to provide banks a fast, seamless, and highly secure way to integrate digital assets into their core offering. We want that banks can focus really on the market opportunities of digital assets and don't have to tackle the underlying technical challenges on their own. Our institutional gateway covers the entire value chain of digital assets in an end-to-end fashion, from the issuance of tokens to access liquidity, custody, settlement and clearing, and even asset servicing. The institutional gateway is provided in 3 different ways together with our partners. Custodigit itself is providing the institutional gateway as a technical platform in a SaaS service model. Another access to the institutional gateway is as a regulated business service, which is currently developed by our strategic partner, the SIX Digital Exchange. Additionally, the institutional gateway is also provided as a bank-for-bank service by some of our customers, for example, like Signum Bank. Next slide, please. We are proud to say that the leading Swiss digital asset companies have joined forces to deliver the institutional digital asset gateway. All companies behind share the same mission, that they want to give banks access to digital asset services in an easy, compliant, and secure way. But let's have a look on the different partners involved. Custodigit entered in December 2020 into a strategic partnership with SIX Digital Exchange, SDX, with the goal that SDX is building on top of the Custodigit platform institutional digital asset business services for banks. On the other hand, Swisscom, the biggest IT outsourcing provider for the financial service industry in Switzerland, is hosting and operating our SaaS platform and ensuring highest security and availability in operations. Signum Bank, being the first digital asset focused bank, which got a banking license granted by the Swiss regulator FINMA, is providing the institutional digital asset gateway as a bank-for-bank service. So we are really proud to say that the leading Swiss digital asset companies in Switzerland are partners of us as well as investor of Custodigit, and therefore also reduce supplier risks for our customers. Right? If you're talking about innovation, I guess nobody is thinking about the art market itself. In fact, I would even say it's the opposite. The art market is a market which didn't really change in the last 300 years. But on the other hand, we see that there is a sustained and even increasing investors' interest in that market, as it provides the opportunity to generate interesting profits in addition to the emotional attachment. And also, it's quite a sizable market of around 60 to 70 billion US dollar. Plus, there's a huge potential to bring innovation in that market with technology. But on the other hand, it's also nowadays quite an inefficient market for investors. If you want to invest into fine art, it's also a relatively expensive exercise to do. Auction houses are normally charging a premium between 12 and 30%. But we do have the low liquidity of the market. If you want to invest into the art market, into an art market fund, there's normally a minimum investment of 500K US dollar required. As this wouldn't be enough, the market is quite opaque, and it requires a level of specific know-how which is not readily available. On the other hand, if we are having a look on what actually tokenization can bring to the fine art markets, we see mainly three elements which are important. With the tokenization of an art piece, a digital twin can be created, which builds the basis for making a fine art bankable and to be integrated into the banking system. As we have seen, the art market is an illiquid market with high investment barriers. There, the fractionalization of an asset is an important feature which helps to lower the barrier and make the art market more liquid in the end. The combination of having a digital twin with fractional ownership of an asset helps to increase the speed as well as the easiness of ownership transaction and can reduce the overall transaction costs substantially. Of course, that's also important to know. All those benefits can only be applied if the legal and regulatory environment allows it. But also there, we see a lot of movements going on, and in certain countries, this is already doable from a legal and regulatory perspective. Now, I would like to hand over to Alessandro.
Thank you very much, Peter. So far, we have spoken about the art market and tokenization. Now, the interesting question is, which new opportunities arise for private banks? To answer that question, we need to have a look at the value chain of the art market and the offering of private banks. Well, first of all, private banks often have a large customer base that are exposed to art or aim to create an exposure in order to diversify their investments. Private banks often have a collection of own art objects that they can offer in the market. And finally, private banks often offer services around the management of art objects, such as inheritance planning or valuation. Consequently, the following market opportunities arise. First of all, we make an unbankable asset class bankable. And secondly, tokenization allows to orchestrate the new value chain in the art industry in a more efficient manner. Particularly, tokenization allows fractional ownership of art objects. Hence, also smaller investments can be performed. Also, the creation of a digital order book allows to bring buyer and seller together. And tokenization substantially reduces transaction costs and transaction time. Thirdly, private banks can offer innovative inheritance solutions by allowing fractional transfer towards multiple heirs. And finally, banks can differentiate themselves in the market with new advisory services around this new asset class. Now, the subsequent question is how private banks can commercialize these new market opportunities. Well, first of all, tokenization leads to an increase of assets under management, which in turn increases custody fees. Secondly, facilitating the digital order book allows to charge trading fees. Thirdly, performing transaction allows to charge transaction fees, and new services allow to raise advisory fees. And finally, innovative inheritance solutions decrease the risk of an asset outflow. Now, let's have a look at the digital asset infrastructure that we have built to support the use case. Well, first of all, we have developed a digital asset platform that can be integrated with the core banking infrastructure of a bank, various blockchains, and market participants. The digital asset platform allows to administrate smart contracts, the custody of tokens, and to manage transactions. The full integration into the core banking system allows to reflect tokenized assets in portfolios along traditional assets, automatically settle the fiat leg of trades, and manage customer data. Finally, the integration with market participants enables to trade tokenized art objects on a secondary market. Now, let's also have a look at the challenges that come along with such a project. Well, first of all, it's certainly legal and trust, as Peter already mentioned. Existing stakeholders in the value chain need to adapt to the new technologies. However, not all jurisdictions allow to orchestrate such a value chain in a digital manner yet. Secondly, it's also understanding. The stakeholders required to be trained to ensure the adoption. And finally, it's the core banking infrastructure itself. There is no standard yet in the market regarding the integration of tokens towards a core banking system. Hence, each integration comes along with a specific effort. Peter, you're on mute.
Thanks, that's still a challenge for me, but thank you very much. Right, Custodigit provides a white-labeled enabling digital asset platform for banks so that they can really focus on the market opportunity and do not have to focus on technical challenges. The Custodigit platform provides all the business functionalities required to provide end-to-end digital asset services to their end customers for use cases like issuance of a token or trading of certain digital assets. Custodigit has done all the heavy lifting on the tech side, has integrated different blockchains, connections to the liquidity provider, and keeps the private key safe according to the highest security standards. In short, Custodigit, with its digital asset platform, is the right partner for banks who want to give their customers access to digital assets. As we are expecting quite a few open questions from the audience, we would now have time, a few minutes, to go and dive into the open questions. Are there any?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was a little bit surprised by your early stopping. But there's at least one. It comes directly from our Telegram group, and I want to use this in one sentence. Everyone is cordially invited to join and ask their questions. We will read them out here. The question to you guys is, how important is the ability to track the ownership of artworks in reality, as in maintaining a record of ownership and being able to trace back, let's say, the previous owner and so on?
So if I do understand the question correctly, it's going into the direction of the provenance of an art piece, right? And of course, that's highly relevant. That's the physical part of, especially in fine arts, of an art piece, that you are sure and generally know where the art piece is coming from. It's an important aspect from my point of view.
Okay. Wait a second. Okay, yeah, we have another question, which I was just told. Is it legally possible in Germany to tokenize a piece of art currently? I don't think there's a specification whether it should be fractionalizable or not.
According to my understanding, and sorry, being not the expert on the German regulation, but according to my understanding, in Germany itself, not yet, right? There are certain European countries where it's already doable, one of it being, for example, Liechtenstein.
Okay. Yes, we've heard on Liechtenstein's regulation on that yesterday. It makes sense. Thanks for connecting the 2 days that well. Currently, there are no further questions, as
Good.
far as I know. How are we on time? Okay.
Not too bad. Right, maybe also from our side, thank you very much. And if there are questions coming up, you have the contact details on the slide here. Please reach out to us. We are happy to help wherever we can.
All right, then thank you two again, Alessandro Torfi and Peter Hofmann, for this amazing talk and for making space for questions. It's, I think it's very kind of you.